My name is sinoeun from Cambodia. In today's topic, we will discuss about the withholding tax in Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central 2026 release by 1. So before we start, let us understand the definition of the withholding tax. Actually, it is a tax that the payer deduct from the payment to the supplier and pay to the General Department of Taxation on behalf of the supplier. In short, we don't pay the full amount to the vendor. We withhold the amount based on the withholding tax rate. And the last, we declare the tax amount to the government. So this is how it works. We have the Business Central user. We have the withholding tax 15%. We have the supplier. We have the General Department of Taxation. Let's say the supplier sent us the invoice with amount 1,000 US dollar. And then we just pay to the supplier only $850. And the remaining $150 we will pay to the General Department of Taxation based on the deadline. So this is the whole picture of the withholding tax setup. We have the withholding tax business posting group. We have the withholding tax product posting group. For withholding tax of business posting group, we can say it is the vendor type. It can be the resident or non-resident. For the withholding tax of product posting group, it can say the type of service. So it can be service, rent, interest, dividend, something like this. And then we have the threshold rule, so it can be less than. It can be less than or equal to. It can be equal to, greater than, and greater than or equal to. I think in Cambodia, we can set up the threshold is about $2.5. And then we have the withholding tax rate. It can be 10%. 14%, 15%. And for the relied ties, it can be invoice, payment, and early as. And for revenue tie, sequence account, and balance account, it is not used in Cambodia, so we don't need to mention about it. I think, to be more clear, let us go to the real mode. Hi everyone, now I am on the screen of the Business Central. So, to be able to use the withholding tax, we need to activate it first at the General Ledger Setup. So you can say these two fields need to be activated. Annual withholding tax and round payment amount for withholding tax. So this is the first thing that we need to do. And then we need to map to the vendor. Let me just go to the vendor. So I have the vendor Net Cambodia, and we have one field related to the withholding tax. We call withholding tax business posting group. So now I map to the local because it is the resident, and this is the FOO foreign. We can say it is the non-resident. So this is the full list. So if you have more, you can create more like that. But I think in Cambodia, this two is enough for us for non-resident and resident. So another thing, it is about the item. Let me just go to the item, the service. So I have the item is implementation service. I also mapping to the withholding tax business posting group as the service. So let me just show the full list. So we have the dividend, we have the interest, we have the rent service. And yes, I just create more, let's say 10%, 15% or something like this, okay? So this is the full list of the withholding tax business posting group, and we need to map this to the item. And another screen, we have the withholding tax posting setup. This is the mapping that we map together between this we call withholding tax business posting group, and we map to the withholding tax product posting group. So you can see this is foreign, we can say non-resident, if it is the dividend due to the service ties, and then the withholding tax rate is 14. And if it is local, we call the resident. If it is a dividend, so the rate is 15. So for the service, if it is applied with the resident, it is 15%. But for service, if it is applied to the non-resident, it is 14. So for all non-resident, the withholding tax rate is applied the same thing, 14%. So if we talk about the threshold, we have these two fields: withholding tax calculation rule and withholding tax minimum invoice amount. So let's say in this we can select the greater than, and the minimum invoice amount we can put 2.5. So this amount is equal to about 10,000 Khmer Ria. So if we set up like this, when we do the purchase invoice, if the amount is less than this, so the rate will not calculate it. So the withholding tax will not trigger. So this field we can set up whether the withholding tax is calculated when we do purchase invoice or when we do the payment. So we can have choice. In Cambodia, we can select the invoice. So every time we issue the purchase invoice, the withholding tax will calculate it. So now let's just make this simple by just using normal without threshold. It's better to understand. Okay. So now I have all set up about the withholding tax, and then I can go to the purchase invoice. Let me just go to the purchase invoice. I create new invoice. I select the vendor. My vendor is Net Cambodia. So I enter the invoice number, and then I select my item as a service, implementation service. So the quantity I use 1, and then this is 1000. Yeah, something like this. So now my withholding tax is service. So it will expect to calculate about the 15%. So let me just preview posting for you. So we have the GL entry. Okay, so we have, let's say the service is consultation service. The expense is 1000. So this is the withholding tax payable is 150, and this is the vendor domestic, which is account payable 850, something like this. So it is automatic calculation the withholding tax rate based on the tile service. And actually we can change the tile service over here. Let's say it is not 15%. In this case it is only 14%, only just example. So if we select here as a 14%, let me just preview posting again. Okay, so you can see the service is the service expense is 1000, and the withholding tax is only 140, because we have set up in withholding tax posting setup. There are the 14%, and the business posting group is local, so the rate is 14%, something like that. So I can change to the rand. Let's just example for you so that you can understand. Let me just change it to the rand, and I try to preview again. Okay, let me just see the GL entry. Now it is changed to 100 for the withholding tax payable. Okay, so I think let's just change it to normal by using services, because we want to have the default that we set up from the item, and I try to post it. Okay, so we have posted already, and if we check the file entry, so this is the GL entry. Again, we check in the posted here, 1000, 150, and 850. So we have the withholding tax entry here, and if we check in the vendor, let me just go to the vendor. So the balance is only 850. So as I mentioned, This Net Cambodia issued the invoice 1,000, but we pay them only 850 only. But we need to declare the remaining amount to the General Tax Department based on the deadline, something like this. Yeah, I think that's all for withholding tax. It's a very straightforward and fit with the Cambodian requirement. And thank you everyone for watching. In case you have requirement for Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central license or implementation service, you can contact me with this number.